I'm mixing up the ink for my wings and they are going to be mostly transparent. So what I'm going to do is make a pile of mostly extender or transparency and then use some leftover ink that I have from a prior month's project to tint the transparency so it's just a slight color. I want her wings to have a slight blue hue when they are just a single wing, and then when they're overlapped an even brighter blue. And you can see I really am using mostly the extender. One of the cool things about using this when you are printing is you don't even have to use it when you want your ink to be fully transparent. You can actually mix this into a color to make your pile bigger. So as long as you don't need it to be super opaque and cover the prior layer perfectly, it works really well, especially when you're building up color that you want to kind of play off of each other. I have used transparency in a couple of my big projects. So this is one of the past projects that I did. It is my Halloween piece and I did it in the sky. I started out with a very, very rich, vibrant red, and it was very beautiful, but too vibrant. And what I wanted to do was tone that down with a transparent gray layer that kind of added a smoky vibe to the piece. By using the transparent ink over it, I was able to achieve the effect I want, have really bright pumpkins, and give a very interesting texture and depth to the piece when you look at it in person. I think that's what I like about transparent ink the most, because it kind of is like you're doing glaze layers with oil painting. You can get some really rich depth and light interactions to your colors. For layer number 1, you can see that it is very pale, light blue. You can see a little bit of the flower showing through, and this was perfect for layer number 1. So moving on to layer number 2 for my transparency, still in the wings, but this is where the two wings overlap each other. And I want the second transparent layer to be more colorful, but still very transparent. So I added in some transparency, and really my goal here is the colors of the flower should still be shining through, but they're starting to be very subtle because we have multiple layers on top of it. One thing that I have found when I am using transparent ink on purpose is I always mix up too much pigment in it, and I always want to be a little bit lighter. So this was a little too dark, and if I printed the entire edition like this, it probably would be fine, but I think I'm going to add in about 25% more transparency, and I think that'll be somewhere a little more close to what I had been envisioning. One thing that is just really interesting when you have a mostly transparent pile is it doesn't look transparent until you print it. So when I save my ink, I will also add a note to my future self that it is mostly transparent, and I usually put about what percentage I think it is. One other thing to note with transparency is it seems to pick up texture really easily, so you might have to use either a tack reducer or thin out your ink, just depending on what you are doing. Or if you like the texture, just lean more into it. For my Halloween piece, I wanted that texture, and for this one, it wasn't too bad. And this is what it ended up looking like with the slightly more transparent blue.